Well, welcome back to the Dallas Bankers Club show. This is Dean Rosencrantz. I'm the founder of the Dallas Bankers Club. I've got a couple of really good special guests today with Commerce Street Capital. I've got Mike Point here and Steve Ellis. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, we're having a happy hour next door, and we got a lot of bankers next door, and I really appreciate you coming to these events and kind of spreading the word of Commerce Street Capital. It's a tough one to get out when you've had
You got to say all three words. Right?
Yeah. Well, so Mike, you know, a lot of people, at least within my industry in banking, they know who Commerce Street Capital is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really have done a great job over there at the firm to brand yourself. You know, with Associated Bank and who I work for, we're trying to brand ourselves as well. And obviously we're an early or a late adopter of marketing, but you all seem to have a pretty good way of doing it. And I'm just kind of curious, in your own mind, what has made Commerce Street who they are today?
Well, I think, you know, with respect to supporting community banks, I think we align ourselves well with the type of business that you guys are in. Mm-hmm. We are very focused on the lower middle market, you know, companies less than about 50 to 75 million in their enterprise value. And I think when we go to market with a bank, we have a lot of aligned synergies that make sense. You know, we understand what you all need to get out of a relationship, and we understand what our clients need, and then bringing the right bank together to meet those needs helps us out and helps them out as well. So,
you know, I think a lot of bankers who just kind of focus on what they do every day, which is lend money, they often don't know the inner workings of a bank. And they don't know that a lot of these banks are for sale or have been purchased. I mean, a lot of us have lived through large purchases, i.e. Wells Fargo and Wachovia, that I lived through. And, even going back to my days at U.S. Bank, the day I start U.S. Bank and First Star get together.
Okay,
right?
I remember that.
Nobody called me on these things.
No, nobody asked you, did they?
Yeah, no. At Wells Fargo, Dick Fosvich didn't say, hey, Dean, what do you think about us buying Wachovia? You know, but the landscape changed, obviously, after a lot of those things. But for the layman, for those that don't really understand what Commerce Street does, give us kind of a high profile of what is that Commerce does that nobody else does.
Well,
I think investment banking.
From our perspective, we're like the gunner boat next to the mothership. We're able to move in and out and create a lot of value that banker's not thinking about when they're looking to sell or they're looking to acquire. So they're coming to Commerce Street because we have a good pulse on not only the small banks in the market, but the larger banks, and we see the opportunities in between, and we're actually able to help a bank really maximize the shareholder value and the book value of what their dollars are being used for. Right. So we can do that very efficiently because we're not an investment bank, you know, overly burdened by fixed cost. We operate very lean, but ultimately we drive a lot of value as a result.
Right.
So
I'm a bank owner. Not a bank owner, but I'm putting myself in. I'd like to be one.
Yeah.
But so I'm out in West Texas, small little town, and you know, I'm 75 years old. What should I be thinking about when I'm, from a succession perspective? I don't have an heir apparent, you know, but I don't want to leave this bank in a lurch if I were to retire. So what is there? I mean, is it the only option is to sell, or are there strategic buyers out there that, hey, you run the bank or you keep the people, we're just an investor and we'll bring the capital?
Well, yeah, there's always investment groups out there looking for banks that either want a financial investment or have a certain kind of niche lending that they want to do, or something else that they bring to the bank, that are looking for those kinds of opportunities, depending on the size of the institution.
I would think you're seeing a lot of organizing groups.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are just never been in banking, but for whatever reason they want to own a bank.
Yeah.
What's the attraction of owning a bank?
That's a good question. That's a good question. No. You know, we get all kinds of people that come in. You can't believe how many different kinds of groups come in. And actually, they have a lot of different reasons why they want to own banks. I mean, some guys think that they have a better way of doing banking than the bankers do. The more common reason is they might be looking for a stable environment. I mean, I've had several people come in lately that they're looking for that kind of consistent revenue that a bank can produce.
Sure.
And it's we'll call it more annuity driven kinds of investments, and they might be looking for management.
Right.
Some of them just have the cash and the availability of capital, and they might be looking for the right management team to run the bank. So they're looking for a bank that's already got management.
Right. Yeah.
Other people, they think that they have a certain way of doing business, or they might have a certain kind of real estate niche, or small business lending opportunity that they think they can take advantage of, and that's a reason why they might want to buy one.
And so you obviously see some of the big mergers lately.
Yeah.
SunTrust, BB&T, which is probably the biggest in a long time.
Yeah.
Interesting on the name that they've chosen.
Yeah, Truist is very interesting.
It's an interesting deal.
name.
But do you see any bigger deals in the making where, are there deals left? Right? It just seems like we're all kind of getting consolidated now.
There's obviously a lot fewer banks than there used to be, but the environment for mergers is still pretty good. We've had like 110, I think, this year so far. We're a little bit behind last year, but there's still there's still reasons why banks decide they want to get together. There's a lot of economies of scale that come through those kinds of mergers, and people are looking for the right kind of technology is a big deal right now, and a lot of banks are looking at how are we going to compete against the non-banks. And because there's a lot of non-banks, fintechs that are taking little pieces of the banking business away from us all the time.
Right. Well, I was a guest at your 17th annual bankers event out at the Four Seasons, and very interesting, eclectic group of bankers there.
Wide
but
range.
What I found more intriguing was based on what you had just mentioned, the fintech side. And one of the gentlemen on your panel was very passionate about, it's kind of an us versus them right now, in that they get the benefit of kind of being an unregulated or non-regulated entity.
Yeah, very true.
But then a commercial bank or a community bank is reliant on the fintech to maintain their services and or at least level of technology. And it's like, so the fintechs really are winning on both sides.
Yeah.
And probably that's one of the areas for me as an old banker to kind of see how banking has changed. Now, I don't really need to have an account open in 5 minutes, right? That's, if you need that fast, then okay.
Yeah.
I'm a relationship banker. I want to see you, touch you.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily always touch you, but at least get to know you.
I can touch
That's
you.
right. Exactly right.
It's funny.
Right. So, well, guys, I really appreciate you being on the show,
Thank you.
and appreciate your support with the Dallas Bankers Club. And so this is another section of the Dallas Bankers Club. I want to thank my guests, Mike Point and Steve Ellis, and we'll be talking to you soon. Cheers.